Well, welcome back. Reading Mark chapter 14, and here we go. If you just have the page that's only the ESV, it also refers you to the Old Testament texts and the other versions in the other Gospel writers. So I'll just have Matthew and Luke telling the same part of the story, just open as well. Okay. Ende to Pascha tai kai ta azuma meta dor hemeras. It was the Passover and the azuma, unleavened bread. Okay, that's plural. Okay, perhaps it has the sense of the days of unleavened bread, after 2 days, which is an odd way of expressing that time, but yeah, it was the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread after 2 days. Kai hoi archieres, kai hoi grammates, and the high priests and the scribes, ezertun, were seeking pos auton endoloi krates santes apoktenosin, how, having taken hold of him by a trick, I think. We haven't seen this much in the Gospels. It's a very common word in Greek, by a trick or by a craft, yes. Okay, Mark 7, it's in the list of things, bad things that come out of a man that make him unclean, dolos, yes, craft or deception. Although we do see the word deception to do with planato, something like that. How, having taken hold of him by deception, they might kill him. Elegongar, for they were saying, mer ente heorte, not in the festival or during the festival, mer poter estai thorubos tu lau, lest there will be a thorubos, an uproar. We saw this in the episode of Jairus' daughter, a rowdy mob of the people. Kai ontos autu en Bethaniae, and while he was, genitive absolute, in Bethany, en te oikiai Simonos tu lepru, in the house of Simon the leper, katakemenu, autu, a second genitive absolute, while he was lying down or reclining at dinner, I would say, while he was reclining at dinner, elthen guner, there came a woman, ekusa alabastron, having an alabaster flask. Obviously these are words we don't normally see. I think this is used in all the Gospel accounts. Alabastros. Okay, an alabaster jar. Muru, of myrrh. And nardu pistocares, 2 nouns, 2 adjectives, pistocares, polytelus, all genitive. It sounds like these have been doubled up, that there are alternative versions have been conflated, because simply muru, pistocares would be fine. Hang on, are both of these neuter? And nardos, masculine. So why is this feminine? This one's a funny adjective. Okay, probably adjective also, feminine also, although it's hard to tell with this peculiar declining. Often compound adjectives are a little bit peculiar, or something would tell us in. I don't know why this is feminine. If this is neuter and this is masculine, Why is this feminine? I don't know. I'm a little bit baffled. Maybe there's something I'm missing. While he was reclining, a woman came having an alabaster of expensive myrrh, of expensive nard. Really, these two words mean the same, and these two words basically mean the same, just ointment. And I have no idea why that is feminine. I do wonder, maybe it's always feminine, maybe it always has. No. Okay, I don't understand that. Sorry, just flag that up as it looks like these special terms have been doubled up. Maybe two accounts have been conflated. And suntripsasa, having broken ten alabastron. Okay. Despite appearances, it's feminine. According to this. I mean, 10 definitely indicates that. And having broken the alabaster jar, right, that still needs to be genitive, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm still confused. I'm still confused. Is this alabastros, hair alabastros? That doesn't seem right at all. You know what? I'll come back to that. The sense is clear enough. Having broken the alabaster jar, kater keren, she poured out, or she was pouring down, aututes kephales on his head. She was pouring it over his head. So I'm confused by all those strange words. Very exotic words. Es andetines ag anactuntes prosa autus. We have seen this once before. And there were some being indignant prosa autus with each other, to each other. And there were some being indignant to each other. Ace tir, normally we say dear tir, why? And there are many other ways to say why. I'm not sure we've seen ace tir before. Ace tir of what purpose? Her apolea hauter to muru gegonen. The loss or this destruction or waste, actually. Whence this waste of myrrh did it happen? Why was this myrrh wasted? Edunatogar, for it to tomuron, for this myrrh could prathernai be sold epanodenarion triacosion for above 300 denarii. Kaidothenai tois ptokois, and be given to the poor. Greek doesn't really have a past infinitive like Latin does. To have been sold would be easy to do in Latin, but you can't do it in Greek. That's just aorist, passive. And I don't know if I've explained, but in Greek, an aorist infinitive and a present infinitive basically have the same meaning. They don't indicate time at all. They can be said to indicate aspect, but that's actually probably a myth. Most people would say they mean the same thing. But okay. For this myrrh could have been sold for above 300 denarii and have been given to the poor. Kai enibrimonto aute, and they scolded her. We have seen this word. It's rather uncommon. Sternly charged him and sent him away. Yes, okay. They were stern with her. Okay, that figures. Hode Jesus apen, but Jesus said, Aphater auten, let her alone. Te aute kopus parekete. Literally, why do you provide troubles for her? Why are you giving her a hard time? Kalon ergon ergasato enemoi. Ergao, I think. Ergasdomai. Yes, to do a work. Yes. She has done a good work for me. Yes, sometimes in the New Testament this word ergon, as in works versus faith, that old chestnut. It's the Jewish word mitzvah, to do a mitzvah. She's done a mitzvah for me, I think is implied. Pantoto gar tus ptokus ekete methe auton. For always you have the poor with you. Kai hotan thelete, and whenever you wish, dunaste autois you poiesai, you can do some good for them whenever you wish. Emade u pantote ekete, but me you do not always have. Ho esken epoiesen, what she had, she did. Yes, she did what she could. Oh, it's a bit forced there. Yes, perhaps it does mean that. What she was able to do, she has done. Pro elaben murisai tosoma mu, eis ton entafiasmon. In Greek, we don't normally see pro as a prefix. It's a little bit newfangled, a little bit Latin-y perhaps, I don't know. We've seen it a few times in Mark, attached to quite normal verbs. But anyway, she has taken my body beforehand, I think the idea of pro. She has taken beforehand my body to anoint eistor entafiasmon, for the purpose of burial. She has anointed my body beforehand for burial. Yeah. Amen de lego humin, and truly I say to you, hopu ean kerukthe to euangelion, wherever, ean is if, but it often goes with hopu, wherever the gospel is preached, might be proclaimed, eis honon ton cosmon, into the whole world, kai ho epoiesen hauter, what this woman has done, that's relative, what this woman has done, lale thesitai, it will be spoken of, eis ne mosunon autes, as a memorial of her. Yes, that's an odd way of thinking about that, as a memorial of her, in her memory. Yes, I'm not sure why that is. I mean, why she needs or expects or deserves a memorial. Okay. Kai, Judas Iscariot, and Judas Iscariot, ho, heis ton dodeca, he who was one of the 12, apelthen, went away, pros tus archieres, to the high priests, hina auton paradoi autois, in order that he might betray him to them. Yes, so it's linked with this. It's linked with this wastage of myrrh, but it doesn't have the gloss it has in, I think, some of the other Gospels, where money is Money is a thing for him. Yeah. Truth is, we don't really know very much about Judas Iscariot apart from what he does. And to be honest, he is mentioned once in earlier Mark in Galilee, but only by name when Jesus calls the 12. Apart from that, he doesn't have any part in that story anyway. Yeah, he went to the chief priests in order to betray him to them. Hoide accusantes, and they, having heard, these are the chief priests, ekaresan, they were glad. We haven't seen this verb used like this, but they were joyful. Kai epangelanto, and they promised autoi argurion dunai, to give him money, but silver, I think. Yeah, money. But it does mean silver. And they promised to give him silver. Kai ezete pos out on eucharis paradoi, and he started seeking how he might hand him over. Eucharos, in a convenient way at a convenient time, I would say. Kairos is the right time, at the right time. Yes, a good translation. He sought an opportunity to betray him. Yes, paradidomi really contains the idea of betray. It's certainly in Mark. Okay. Kai te prote hemerai, tone azumon. And on the first day of unleavened bread, hoteto pascha ethuon, when they were sacrificing. I don't know. Does this mean when they were sacrificing the paschal lamb? Tom Pascha can mean the paschal lamb, or does it just means when they were preparing when they were yeah? Is it a time code, or does it literally mean when they were sacrificing the lamb? Legusin autoi hoimathertai autu. The disciples say to him, Pu theles apelfontes het toimasomen hinaphagesto pascha. Where do you wish that we should go and we should prepare in order that you might eat Passover? Yes, I don't want to translate this word as the lamb, because I don't think that's what it means. I think it means celebrate the festival. And I don't really know so much about that. I mean, at one time it was a household festival and you would sacrifice your own lamb on the first day. And I think in the temple period, in the second temple period, that the lambs were sacrificed in the temple. It's very unclear to me, but anyway. But yeah, the lambs sacrificed on the first day. Apostele duo ton matherton autu, and he sends out 2 of his disciples. We had this before in Mark 11, 1-6, this slightly eerie meeting where he has this kind of Elijah-like, slightly wizard sense of what they will find and bring back. And he sends out 2 of his disciples, and he says to them, Papagete, go, ace 10 pollen into the city, kai apanterse, who mean anthropos, and a man will meet you. I'm not sure if this means by accident or by appointment. It's not that clear to me. Bastasdon, carrying keramion hudatos, a ceramic or clay jar of water. Akolus dersata autoi, follow him. Normally, of course, following implies Jesus has this special meaning, following me. This word is often used by both Luke and John with stauron, carrying the cross, pick up the cross. We only had that once in Mark, because the cross doesn't really enter Mark's gospel until right at the end. But there it was Iro, or I think it was Arai Bastazdo. Arai Stauron, to pick up your cross. And anyway, it's interpolated. It didn't belong there in book 9. But yes, I don't know what to make of this, simply because we've got Iro, carry, and we've got Pharaoh, and Mark's been using all of these words quite happily. And now he uses bastazdo, which appears in the other Gospels, but in Mark only this once. Okay. Yeah, it is eerie that you'll meet a man carrying a jar of water. It is not. I'd like to know if the man knows that he's meeting the disciples. And why a jar of water? I mean, it could just be you need water when you're preparing a meal, and it could just be a guest house. You know, people are preparing obviously rooms for people who are going to be celebrating the Passover. You're going to need jars of water. So if you follow a guy carrying a jar of water, you'll get to someone who's renting out a room, maybe. I mean, why water, not wine? And also, you can see this as a type of Christ. If Jesus is living water, and karamion, like Adam, clay, living water in a clay vessel. It's kind of, you can see it as symbolic. It's eerie and a nice detail. Kai hopu ean eselthei, and wherever he enters, epate toi oiko despote, say to the master of the house, hoti, hodidaskalos lege, the teacher says, pu estin to kataluma, mu, where is my guest room? From context, I think it has to mean that. It can mean that. Where is my guest room? Hopu to pasca, metaton matheton mu fago, where I might eat the Passover with my disciples. So it does sound like the oikorespotes, the keeper of the house, knows that he's coming in some sense. It's eerie, or perhaps it's been arranged. It does occur to me that if Jesus and his disciples were wine-free, which is entirely possible, if they were Nazarites in a sense like John the Baptist, then they might be going to a hostel that catered for that cult or that preference. No wine. Autos humin deixe, and he will show to you anagaion mega. I can only say from ana up and ger or gaia ground, above the ground, something like that. A big room above the ground. Upper room is the best we can do, but it's odd. Estromenon hetoimon normally means strawed, covered in straw, estromenon, but perhaps furnished or prepared, and hetoimos ready. Yes, he will show you a large upper room furnished and ready. Yeah, but it's still peculiar, that's all. Kai eke hetoi masata hemin, and there prepare for us. So in an upper room. Kai exelthon hoi mathertai, and the disciples went out, kai elthon aisten polin, when they came to the city, kai huron kathos apen, and they found just as he said to them, kai etoi masan to pascha, and they prepared the Passover. Kai opsias genomenes, and when it was evening, genitive absolute, erikitai metaton dodeca, he comes with the 12. Kai anakamenon our tone, and as they were reclining. Is that the word we used earlier? I think it's a different word we used. I think we used katakamenon above. Which is most natural. Yes. Katakamenon our two, as he was reclining at the table. Kata normally means down and ana means up, but what exactly? I would say that they're interchangeable. But yeah, okay. Kai anakamenon our tone, and as they were reclining, kai esion tone, and eating, hoiesus apen, Jesus said, Amen lego humin, verily I say to you, hoti heis ex humon, paradose me, ho estheon met emu, that one out of you will betray me, who is eating with me. One of you who is eating with me will betray me. That sounds like something that should be backing up a prophecy. It sounds like it should be something in the Old Testament we can find that would match that, but I'm not aware of it. Erxantor lupes thai, and they began to be sorrowful. Kai legein autoi, heis kata heis, and to say to him, one after another, merte ego, is it I? I mean, actually, you can say this as a question. It's more like it's not me. I think it's not me, because this question implies a negative answer. No, obviously it's not me. And heis kata heis, actually, I mean, I need to get rid of autoi. But it says they're saying one against another. Yeah, it's not me. Is it you? It's not me. But yeah, maybe I'm extrapolating. Hodie panautois, and he said to them, Heis tondodica, one of the 12, ho embaptomenos metemu eis to troblion, who is dipping. This is bapto to do with dipping, yeah, and bapto, who is dipping in the dish with me. Perhaps they are eating lamb. Perhaps they are eating lamb. I mean, I always think it's odd that there's no lamb at this feast, but perhaps I'm just being perverse because it's implied by the fact that it's Passover. And it talked about sacrificing the lamb at the beginning. So maybe I'm being perverse, but it does say they have a dish, and I'm imagining a kind of tagine where everyone has a bit of bread and the dish is shared, and they kind of dip in. It's one of the 12 who is dipping with me in the dish. It doesn't say in this gospel that Judas is identified at the Last Supper, and presumably seen by everyone. It remains unclear. Nobody knows who it is. Hoti. Okay, yes. Homen. Yeah. This is very common in Greek. We don't see it much in Mark, though. We call it men and de. So, for example, hoi men, blah, 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 hoi de. Some people do this and some people do that. It's like you can say on the one hand this, on the one hand that. Because homen huios to anthropu hupage. On the one hand, the Son of Man goes kathos gegraptai periatu, as it is written of him. But on the other hand, de, I'm making it too strong, but the de picks up homen. Uai, woe, toi anthropoi ekenoi, to that man. Dihu, through whom, ho huios tu anthropou paradidotai, the Son of Man is betrayed or is delivered. Yes, so the Son of Man goes, just goes. It's not a great verb here, as it's written of him. But woe to that man through whom the Son of Man is betrayed. Kalon autoi e me egenerthe ho anthropos ekenos. It's good for him if that man was never born. That's aorist, I think. Yes, aorist passive, had never been born. Yes, I always think it would be better. Better would seem better, but it just says good. It would be good for that man if he had never been born. Kai esionton auton, and while they were eating, genitive absolute, labon arton eulogesos eklasen. Okay, having taken bread and having blessed it, eklasen, he broke it, klasdo, or klao, I should say, yeah, he broke it, and edoken autois, and gave it to them, and said, labete tuto estin tosomamu, take this is my body. Kai labon poterion eucharistesas edoken autois, and having taken a cup, eucharistesas, and having given thanks, he gave it to them. Kai epion exautu pantes, and all drank from it. Kai epen autois, and he said to them, tuto estin to haimamu, tes diathekes, this is my blood of the covenant, tes diathekes, to ek kunomenon, this same word as we had at the beginning of the chapter, K, pause, yeah, poured out, hoper polon, for many. Okay, amen lego who mean, truly I say to you, hoti ukate u me pio, that no longer will I drink ektu genematos tes ampalu, from the fruit of the wine, or offspring of the wine, fruit of the wine, heos tes hemeras ekenes, until that day, hotan auto pino, when auto pino kainon, when I drink it new, en te basilei tu theu, in the kingdom of God. Kai humne santes exelthon, and having sung a hymn they went out, Astor, oros tonelion, to the Mount of Olives. Yeah, it gives you a picture of a meal. I have a feeling that this meal persists in Jewish culture. I'm pretty sure it was prior to Jesus, along with many other things like the Lord's Prayer. We associate it with Essenism, perhaps, or perhaps I do. I've always wondered about eulogesas and eucharistesas, if these are two things. I think in the modern Jewish meal they are. Is it that he blesses the bread and gives thanks for the wine? I think there's a blessing and a giving thanks. It doesn't actually mention wine. It says poteri on a cup. I mean, it's certainly implied if we put this in here, but I have to say this: if we took out these two verses, then we would have communion in one kind. I mean, given that wine hasn't been mentioned at all, and the feeding of the 5,000 bread bread was a big deal and definitely associated with this idea of giving, of it being his own body. But wine was not present. And of course we have this meal in a place where they followed a man carrying a jar of water. And this saying that I won't drink again of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new in the kingdom of God. I mean, I think it's quite common amongst, for example, Muslims. They don't drink wine in this life, but will drink wine in heaven. It's a fast, and the same is true of John. It's a fast. So in the kingdom of God, he will drink wine. But you can say he's been drinking wine all along, and he's just saying, I won't drink wine again until that day. It is odd, because that day is actually today, as it happens. It seems to be continuous with this story. But yes, until I drink it anew in the kingdom of God. I mean, it's definitely an issue in the Gospels about, people ask him about him and John the Baptist. Why is it John the Baptist doesn't, his disciples don't drink wine and yours do? Yeah, I'll take a break there. Sorry, just want to go back and correct what I said of, in Mark 14:3 about this alabaster flask. Sorry, Guner Akusa Elthen. There came a woman having alabastron. Now then, I assume that was just a neuter word, and this is sometimes the case with very foreign words, and these are all very foreign words. It should actually be alabastros, which would normally make it masculine, ho alabastros, but apparently Mark likes hair alabastros, which is very odd, but so feminine. I don't see that it matters. Having a jar, and then muru polutelus, something like a valuable ointment, and then nardu pistikers is a kind of genitive of description. So these two, I know all these four words are genitive, but I think it means an alabaster jar of costly myrrh, as John puts it, nardu pistikers, made from pure spikenard. Actually, it's interesting that John uses almost exactly the words. He doesn't use alabastron, but he used labusa litran, and everything else about this is different. The personnel, I didn't go into that because it's one of the places where the Gospels counsel diverge, and I didn't want to look at that. But just the words he used. He used a litre of muru polutimou, not poluteles, but polutimos, which is much more sensible, very expensive ointment, nardu pistikers, made from pure spikenard. That's a lot more intelligible than what I've got, which is a hot mess, I'm afraid. Yes, so having a jar of muru polutelus, unfortunately my step tells me that's feminine, which would mean it. Yes, I was going to say that. Nardu pistikers, nardos, you would think that would be masculine, but in fact it's feminine. As I said, it's a very foreign word. So that's why pistikers can, which is clearly feminine adjective, can agree with nardu. So maybe that's why my step is determined to make this feminine. Although, to be honest, I would prefer to make polutelus agree with muru. And this is such an obscure flavour of adjectives in the endings that I honestly can't remember how the declensions go. But I think probably it's as simple as that. Having an alabaster jar of expensive ointment. Polytellers, I like John's better, made from pure spikenard. They all use different words. Matthew uses barotimos, having an alabaster jar of, again, Tim has to do with price or value, so of deep valued myrrh ointment. And Luke, being a sensible fellow, just has alabastron muru, which is perfectly sensible. You know what? I'm going to stop there. I just wanted to correct myself as clearly I got it wrong.